The laws of the game are the codified rules that help define association football. They are the only rules of association football subscribed to by the sport's governing body FIFA. The laws mention the number of players a team should have, the game length, the size of the field and ball, the type and nature of fouls that referees may penalize, the frequently misinterpreted offside law, and many other laws that define the sport. During a match, it is the task of the referee to interpret and enforce the laws of the game. There were various attempts to codify the rules of football in England in the mid-19th century. The extant laws date back to 1863, where a rule set was formally adopted by the newly formed Football Association. The original laws were heavily influenced by the Cambridge Rules, and their early development saw substantial influence from the Sheffield Rules. Over time the laws have been amended, and since 1886 they have been maintained by the International Football Association Board. Current laws of the game. The current laws of the game consist of 17 individual laws, each law containing several rules and directions. Law 1, the field of play; Law 2, the ball; Law 3, the number of players; Law 4, the player's equipment; Law 5, the referee; Law 6, the assistant referees; Law 7, the duration of the match; Law 8, the start and restart of play; Law 9, ball in and out of play; Law 10, the method of scoring; Law 11, offside; Law 12, fouls and misconduct; Law 13, free kicks; Law 14, the penalty kick; Law 15, the throw-in; Law 16, the goal kick; Law 17, corner kick. Today, the above 17 laws are less than 50 pages of a 140 by 215 ohm pamphlet. In 1997, a major revision dropped whole paragraphs and clarified many sections to simplify and strengthen the principles. These laws are written in English common law style and are meant to be guidelines and goals of principle that are then clarified through practice, tradition, and enforcement by the referees. The actual law book has long contained 50 pages more of material, organized in numerous sections, that contain many diagrams but did not fit with the main 17 laws. In 2007, many of these additional sections, along with much of the material from the FIFA questions and answers, were restructured and put into a new additional instructions and guidelines for the referee section. This section is organized under the same 17 law points, consists of concise paragraphs and phrases like the laws themselves, and adds much clarifying material that previously was only available from national organizations and word of mouth among referees. Referees are expected to use their judgment and common sense in applying the laws. This is colloquially known as Law 18. History and development. Pre-1863, games which could be described in the most general sense as football had been popular in Britain since the medieval period. Rules for these games, where they existed, were not universal nor codified. A significant step towards unification was the drafting of the Cambridge Rules in 1848, though these were not universally adopted outside Cambridge University. The first and still oldest football club was Sheffield FC, who in 1858 codified the Sheffield Rules of football. The Sheffield Rules were popular and adopted by several Northern and Midlands clubs. 1863 Rules. The laws were first drawn up by Ebenezer Cobb Morley and approved at a meeting of the newly founded Football Association on December 8, 1863. These rules were heavily based on the Cambridge Rules, which were codified in 1848. The Football Association laws of 1863 were published on December 5 in Bell's Life in London for approval. While the game described in the original Football Association laws is substantially different from the modern game, 1863 is generally considered to be the beginning of modern association football, and the point of divergence of the game from rugby football. Adoption of the laws was not universal among English football clubs. The Sheffield Rules continued to be used by many. Additionally, in preference of a more physical game with greater emphasis on handling of the ball, several decided against being part of the FA in its early years and would later form the Rugby Football Union. At its meeting on December 8 the FA agreed that, as reported in Bell's Life in London, John Lillywhite would publish the laws. The first game to be played under the new rules was a 0-0 draw between Barnes and Richmond. Evolution of the rules. The rules of the game changed over time. Variations between the rules used in England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland led to the creation of the International Football Association Board, which governs the rules. Notable amendments to the rules include, 1866 a Euro forward passes are permitted, as long as there are 3 defending players between the receiver and the goal. This was the first step from a consideration of offside as seen in modern rugby towards the offside rule known in association football today. The fair catch is eliminated. 1871 a Euro introduction of the specific position of goalkeeper. 1877 a Euro full unity with the Sheffield Rules is established. A Euro several features of the Northern Code had been incorporated into the London-based association rule book over the preceding 14 years. 1891 a Euro the penalty kick is introduced. 1925 a Euro the offside rule is reduced from 3 to 2 defending players between the player and the opponent's goal line. 1958 a Euro introduction of substitutes. 1970 a Euro introduction of red and yellow cards. 1992 a Euro introduction of the back pass rule. 2012 a Euro goal line technology is permitted, if the individual competition wishes to implement it. Unlike in several other sports, in association football television replays are not permitted to be part of the match official's decision-making process. Whether game rules and practices should be amended to allow these and/or goal line technology is a matter of considerable current debate. Following a number of goal line controversies in major FIFA-organized competitions, and several proposed technologies demonstrating that they could decide whether the ball could cross the line in less than the required 1 second, goal line technology was officially permitted in FIFA-sanctioned competitions from 2012. It was first used in competition at the 2012 FIFA Club World Cup. International Football Association Board. The laws of the game are written by the International Football Association Board. They meet at least once a year to debate and decide any changes to the text as it exists at that time. The meeting in winter generally leads to an update to the laws on July 1 of each year that take effect immediately. The laws govern all international matches and national matches of member organisations. The first meeting was in 1886, with representatives from the Scottish Football Association, the Football Association of Wales and the Irish Football Association, the governing body in the Republic of Ireland. Previously, games between teams from different countries had to agree to which country's rules were used before playing. When the international football body on the continent FIFA was founded in Paris in 1904, it immediately declared that FIFA would adhere to the rules laid down by the IFAB. The growing popularity of the international game led to the admittance of FIFA representatives to the IFAB in 1913. Today the IFAB is made up of 4 representatives from FIFA representing their over 200-plus member nations and 1 representative each from the 4 associations of the United Kingdom. Because 3/4 approval are required to make any changes to the laws, no change can be made without FIFA's approval, but FIFA cannot change the laws on its own. References: The Rules of Association Football, 1863, the first FA Rule Book Bodleian Library. External links: The Current Laws of the Game, Rules and Governance, The Formation of the Football Association and the First FA Rules from the Association of Football Statisticians at the Wayback Machine, Q&A Laws of the Game.